The sharing economy, it's an economic system that takes unused assets. It can be anything from spaces to physical stuff to capital. Unlocks the value of those by matching needs and haves in ways that create greater efficiency and access. This isn't a technology trend. This is really a transformation in how we can utilize assets and the flow of value and trust. I literally think we are in day one. The breakthrough is a smartphone. I do think that piece of technology and everything that it can hold and carry and do, so from geolocation to payments to social, to the ability to locate things in real time, like that is the game changer in terms of mass adoption. Initially, people are going to be excited by it. They are excited by it because it feels like this whole new age of accountability and this whole new age of inclusion. When you keep stripping it back and you try to ignore sort of the next shiny metal toy that appears, when you keep going to, okay, how could this change the way we think about creating value? How could this change the way that we design cities? How could this transform the way we deliver goods and services in emerging markets? How could this democratize access to goods and services capital to people that just can't access these things because they're not available to them? That is the optimistic side of me. At the core of most sharing economy ideas, you have this idea of idling capacity. And I define it as the untapped social, economic and environmental value of assets. It's this idea that now technology can unlock that value and it can redistribute it in different ways. And she started with the likes of eBay and the likes of Zipcar. I think now they're at the stage where they're like, oh, this isn't a short-term trend. It's not a reaction to recession. And it's not even just business model innovation. This is a new customer need. This is a new vein that these companies are tapping into. This ability for marketplaces to aggregate value and to change the way we can access goods and services, I think that's just beginning. Often these ideas start in the consumer-facing space. I think the next big areas are enterprise and industrial assets. So everything from like shipping and logistics to heavy machinery and equipment, but anything where there is real inefficiency and high spend. And then I think we'll also see some really interesting things around utilities, telcos, energy companies starting to apply this. And then potentially, again, more in the industrial enterprise space, industrial waste. So I think the Uber of X has kind of been done. The established companies, they tend to react, and react is the right word, in three ways. So investment, so you see how Google has invested in Uber and Apple's just invested in Didi in China, GM's just invested in Lyft, so that's like the entry strategy. And it's a good strategy. I mean, you start to understand with those companies, they're trying to own the future of transportation, they're trying to own the network. The next is partnership. This rarely works. It's just a learning exercise or a marketing exercise, but nonetheless it has value. So that's really, I'm going to dip my toe in. So Marriott's partner with Liquid Space. That's a really good example of that. And then the last and the hardest to do is business model reinvention, where they actually stop and say, how can we completely reimagine the role that we play in someone's life? Or how can we reimagine the way we deliver value or fulfill a fundamental human need? I'd love like a whole generation of entrepreneurs coming through that says, I want to start a local business and I only want to be in one borough in London, and that's success. But that's just not going to happen in the current entrepreneurial environment. You see all these entrepreneurs under pressure to sacrifice community and sustainable, not even slow growth, but just healthy growth for convenience and a cost play and very aggressive growth. So Uber, I hate to raise Uber, but is a perfect example where, because there's no cap of drivers on the platform, there's no control over surge pricing, there's no control over commission structure, the people who get screwed are the drivers. And the social inequality that we'll see on the provision of service to the demand side, that gap is going to get huge, and I think regulation can play a role there.